What up, everybody, and welcome back to Black Expat Podcast on YouTube. I'm Carl, and let's jump right into it. If you tuned into the past 3 episodes, then you already know a lot about me. You know how I got into learning Chinese in Green Castle, Indiana. You know about how I ended up making it to Taiwan in general. And you also learned a little bit about my experience just being a black teacher out here in Taiwan. But I got some great questions from my podcast and from my Instagram stories that I wanted to answer one of them today with you guys. I'm gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna try to keep it under 3 minutes, but you know, if I go over, it is what it is. Oh well. But before we get to that, first things first. So again, the question I got was, hey, why you been in Taiwan for so long? What made you stay? And every year I've been here for almost 11 years now, the answer to that question has been different, right? The very first year I've been here, the answer was, I actually fell in love with teaching. I liked it. I enjoyed it. After the first year, the students I had, because I taught high school kids, remember, I was 21, 22 years old. My students were 17, 18, 19. One of them was actually 20 years old, right? So it was a different kind of connection. I was very close to an experience that they were about to have in going to live and going to college, right? And going to live in different places around the island of Taiwan. They had a lot of questions to ask, a lot of answers and perspectives to offer, and it was fun and exciting. I admittedly love teaching older students. I love my high school kids. Little kids, not so much. They ask me questions, they always in their nose, and they smell weird. Whatever, I don't care. I said it, and it's true. Y'all know it. If y'all got kids, you definitely know it. But after that, as I talked about before, the thing that has really kept me in Taiwan for as long as I have been has been the ability to travel and see the world. As I said before, I've been to more than 50 countries, which is a lot of different places, right? All over this globe and over the real globe in the world. But the ability to get out and travel and see the world was amazing. How was I able to do that, you ask? First, in Taiwan, being a teacher, you get 3 weeks paid vacation between January and February. Dope, right? And then in the summertime, you get 6 to 8 weeks paid vacation in July and August. Dope, right? Yeah. So why have I been able to travel to all these countries? One, I saved. I'm not gonna lie, I ain't saved that much, but I saved enough to travel to all those places. I definitely should have saved more, but you know what they say, spend more money on experiences than sitting at home and not experiencing stuff. But anyway, I did that. But yeah, so the biggest reason why I think I've stayed in Taiwan and what's kept me here for so long has been the ability to travel. My first trip here, I owe it all to Brad. Shout out to you, Brad. The first trip I went to from Taiwan, right? Because I've been to Egypt before and I lived in Beijing. But those weren't trips. The first trip to Egypt, I went with my university. So it wasn't like something I planned on my own. The second one was a study abroad trip. While I planned most of it on my own, it wasn't really a trip, it was for school. I was there for 6 months. I lived there. It wasn't just for travel, it was for education with a lot of fun mixed in between. I'll get to those stories later. But yeah, it was just my first trip here was with Brad. We went to Thailand and Cambodia. So many stories from that trip. It was an amazing experience. Cambodia, yeah, food poisoning there. Didn't like it that much. Angkor Wat, beautiful. Thailand, loved it. Food, amazing. Culture, great. Hot as hell. But yeah, I mean, and from that trip, he definitely inspired me to want to continue to travel and see more places. Because before then, I didn't know that it was possible to do. I didn't know how cheap it was. Our first trip to Thailand and Cambodia, I spent a grand total of, this was 10 years ago, $500 US. That included the flight, that included where we stayed. We didn't stay in a good place. I leveled up since then. Whatever though, we all know the truth. And also the food, because we kept it as simple as possible. And we traveled for a week, for 10 days, a week and a half. So again, people always ask, what kept you in Taiwan? Why did you end up staying? Why have you ended up staying for as long as you have? First was, I genuinely like teaching. I enjoyed it. And I've since grown out of it and moved into podcasting and working with adults, because the older I got, the less connected I felt with the students, but more so, I just knew it was time for me to move into something new. But the students, first and foremost, is what kept me here. My job, teaching. It was great. I loved it. I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed going to work every day. But then after that, the biggest thing that kept me here after 3 years, which is a long time, 5 years, which is a long time, 7 years is a long time, is the ability to travel. Traveling was the number one thing that kept me here. And I'll talk about another big event that kept me in Taiwan in another different story, because I think we've reached our 3 minutes. So again, if you like what you keep hearing, want to hear some more of, click the link in the description to find my podcast. It's called The Black Expat Podcast, or become a patron of the Black Expat Podcast in the very same link in this description on Podbean. Thank you guys one more time for rocking with me. I'm Carl. Have a drink with me. Ooh, that's some good stuff.